I did another video on distractions when you're sharing the gospel, and I gave some examples. Another one I can think of is when I share the gospel with somebody in Spanish. A lot of times when I get to the part about our personal sin and being saved in Jesus alone, the other person will stop me and they'll say, your Spanish is so good. Where did you learn Spanish? And they're trying to like change the subject, and then I'll kind of say like, oh, thank you. And then I like go back to talking about Jesus. And another example I can give is when I was talking with the Jehovah's Witness and we were in her home. It was a really interesting situation where we were in line at the grocery store and she didn't have enough money, and I paid for her groceries for her, and she's like, thank you. Jesus is so happy about what you did. And I was like, oh, do you believe in Jesus? And she's like, yeah, I do. And I said, me too. And she said, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was thinking, I have to talk with this woman. And she was so grateful, I guess, that I paid for her groceries. And as we were talking, it turns out we lived in the same apartment community down the street. So she was like, you want to come by? I'm making a pizza tonight. Just come over for dinner. So I went over to her apartment and we were talking. And as I was showing her different things in the Bible that were contrary to what her organization teaches, she just randomly started falling asleep. Like her eyes were like closing and she was like drifting off. So I feel that, as I mentioned in the other video, that there's so many ways in which the enemy tries to kind of intervene in when we're sharing the gospel with others. So please be mindful, and despite any distractions that you might face, to keep the conversation directed on the gospel and what you're sharing.